Welcome, and thank you for tuning into the Human Training Your Dog is Begging You For podcast, that is. Need help understanding your dog and their crazy behaviors? Then you have come to the right place. We're Charles and Laura Countryman, co-founders of K-9 Culture Dog Training in Dallas, Texas.
Hello, guys.
And with us is also the leadership and ownership team senior trainer and head of dog evaluations, Wyatt.
Hi.
And lead trainer, Julie.
Hey.
From training, behavior, emotional issues, maybe it's just health and happiness questions that you're struggling with your dog. Our intent with the podcast is to help you understand your dog better, hopefully learn more about managing and training behaviors that you see more, and learn how to replace some of those behaviors that you would like to see less of. We really hope that this podcast helps you and your dog, or you and your dog, basically improve your relationship together and help you have a dog that's a joy to live with. So today's episode, we're going to be talking, guys, about our core values. So we have core values. Most companies do. A lot of core values, being from corporate world, they're just fluff. They're on a poster, check mark, boxes checked. We've got our core values, and that's about the last anyone ever hears of them again. We actually put a lot of time and effort into every word in our core values. And our core values is how we want to approach training and interaction with dogs, but also our clients. And we were talking about it, and we thought it would be fun and educational for you to discuss our core values in dog training and how you can implement them with your relationship with your dog and your training and interaction with your dog. Julie,
Yes.
you talk a lot about consistency creates. So I'm going to read through our core values real quick. It's all about the experience, make it fun, always be clear, speed forces focus, pursue growth on all levels, set people up for success, and the last one, consistency creates the picture to model. So the last one, Julie, consistency creates picture to model. What do we mean by that? What's that mean?
In simple terms, I would say whatever you decide to do with your dog, however you decide to live with your dog, it has to be the same every day. If you start to create rules that are not typical ways of being with your dog, and by that I mean the typical example I'll provide with clients is, let's say when you come home, you get very excited, you start to love on your dog, and your dog jumps on you, and you're okay with that. And then a week later, grandma and grandpa come over, and your dog jumps on them and you're not okay with that, you're suddenly creating inconsistency there, because one moment it's okay to do certain things, the next it's not. So to me, it's probably one of the main core values that I follow is consistency is the key to creating a confident dog that understands what they're supposed to do from day to day.
Yeah. And we're pretty intentional with the words that we picked. So we that again is consistency creates the picture to model. And the key word in there besides consistency, picture. Dogs seeing pictures. So we want to remind ourselves they're seeing the behavior that they should be doing. So we want to create that picture over and over and over by being consistent. So they don't have to think about it. They literally have been handed a picture of how to behave in this environment or with grandma or with you, right?
Yeah. Right. Yes.
It's all about the experience. So how we look at that is my favorite feedback from our clients is if a dog's doing a board and train, as most of you know, we do our board and trains Monday through Friday. Dogs come in Monday mornings, they go home at the end of the day on Friday, and then they do a private lesson with their owner, and we give them a little homework to do on the weekends. We do that for a couple of reasons. All trainers are just like any human. They take a day or two off a week. So it doesn't make sense to have the dogs just sitting in a kennel for the weekend, not training, when they could, if it's convenient and able to go home and relax, take a little rest break themselves. And that also gives us an opportunity to have the owner start doing some of that leadership and helping the dog understand, hey, everything I learned this week applies at home now. but it's the experience. So my favorite feedback is the second week people come in with their dog. They're like, wow, I cannot believe how excited my dog is to come in here this morning. First week, all dogs are a little like, what are we doing here? You know, unless they're just straight up crazy, friendly dogs that aren't intimidated by anything. But most dogs are, you know, kind of like going to the vet almost. They're a little apprehensive when they first come in that first day. But the second week, they are on fire. They know, unless they're super anxious dog, they're just super excited. That's how I evaluate we're doing it right, because the dog is so happy. They associate this is a really cool place. But it's not just about the dog's experience. We want the owner to have a great experience too. We want it to be very professional. We want it to be as seamless as possible when they're dropping their dog off and picking their dog up and doing their lessons and the communication, texting communication, email communication, phone communication. Everything to us really matters for the total experience. So that's kind of how I look at the experience. Any additions or comments to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's really what we're looking for with the client side of it, is the clients and the dogs. You know, you guys are very excited to be here. It's a fun place. None of this should be any kind of negative. You and your dog should love being here. It's fun.
Yep. Hopefully we lay the right groundwork that your dog loves learning for the rest of their life.
Yes, that'd be nice.
And that'll make it so much easier for you to teach your dog new things, because they look at learning as fun time, not, oh God, do I have to learn something new?
Yep.
And then through that, you know, our intent is the next core value, which is make it fun, right, Wyatt?
Yeah, and it's really, in my opinion, it's the best way to really train a dog and a human is by not making them think you are forcing them to do this and to be here, because they'll just fight you about it. Is make them want to do it because it's enjoyable, or there's a reward, or there's something fun, a positive end goal that could, you know, overpower the fear of something or anxiety or aggression. It's, you know, I want to be good because it makes mom happy, or
Right.
I want to do this perfectly because I know the better I do it, the bigger reward I'll get, and I love playing with the toy,
Right.
or getting food, or whatever their big reward is. And for humans too. If you're not enjoying training your dog or living with your dog, we're doing something wrong.
Then you're not going to do it at home.
Yeah, that's too. You're doing something wrong. You need to do a different approach.
Well, and also the dogs pick up your vibe.
Absolutely.
They pick up your energy. So if you're going in all kind of monotone, and which sometimes I guess that you might need to do that, but for the most part, you want to do training in a very upbeat, fun way, so the dog looks forward to it.
Right.
They can feel that you're excited.
Yeah.
Well, it's like most people that don't have a dog that walks on a leash could. You do not like walking your dog.
Yeah.
You get on that street and you see a dog coming towards you, you're like, oh my goodness.
You're angst right from the moment, so now your dog's all angst.
Setting everyone up for failure.
Yeah.
But if you're like, it's not a big deal, it's just another dog. I mean, your dog might not act perfectly, but you're not feeding that fire. You're trying to be a positive influence, not an additive negative.
If the dog's having fun in training, then they're not afraid to make a mistake. A dog should never be afraid to make a mistake. The worst thing that happens when they make a mistake, you do it over.
Yep.
Great.
And then over. But it still needs to be fun. That's actually the hardest part about, not the hardest, but definitely one of the difficult parts of dog training is some of the things we do are monotonous because we have to thousands of repetitions, literally thousands, hundreds just to get a grasp of it for the dog, thousands to really let them own it.
And that's one of the hard things.
And you have to make it fun.
Is frustration level. You cannot allow yourself to get frustrating when you're teaching something new to a dog, because they have no clue what we want to do.
Well, especially, it's probably the best way to diffuse a stubborn dog, like a schnauzer.
Yeah.
That just says, no, I'm not going to do it your way. Don't fight them about it. Make it a fun,
figure out a different
approach that's fun for them, because they might just not like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they're just going to say no because there's no incentive for them to do it.
Right.
Try to figure out what your dog wants to do in play.
Yeah.
And that will make them want to work for you.
And one way to make it fun is by being clear, which is our next core value. Always be clear. Right, Laura?
Yes, you need to always be clear. Dogs learn through repetition and clarity, not duration. And I was talking to some of our new trainers. They couldn't, it was hard for them to understand if you're doing repetitions, isn't it the same thing? But it's not. If you're teaching a dog to sit and you're doing weird things with your hands, with your body, with the leash, so you think you're teaching, you're doing repetitions with sit, but you are so unclear to that dog, is it makes it harder for them to learn because they're trying to guess, and we never want our dogs to guess what we want. So you need to always be clear what you want. And you got to remember, dogs look at your body language before they listen to anything you say. So you always keep that understanding too, that you always want to be clear, always have clarity. And you want to, and also repetitions bring confidence. Confidence builds confidence. And that's another way to be clear with your dog.
Yeah.
I'd say one of the best examples of that I talk to people about all the time is most people make their dog sit and stay before they give them their food.
Yeah.
And they do not let their dog get their food until they tell them to.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, I taught my dog that. My dog's super smart, learned it in 2 days. Does it for the rest of its life. I'm like, yeah, because it was black and white. You do not get your food unless you sit and wait till I let you get it.
I like that, yeah.
If we can make all the training that's not possible.
Right.
As much as we can, your dog will just learn a lot faster.
Because it's just so simple.
Yeah.
Right. It's crystal clear. Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Julie?
It just goes hand in hand with consistency.
Yep,
Yeah.
it sure does.
So-
All of these kind of go
Yep.
hand in hand. It's almost impossible to have one without the other for most of this.
But why I just said it's hard, it's not hard. It's just time consuming to always make the dog do it the correct way. If you want your dog to be a good heel, you can never let it float. You can forward, sideways. You always have to stop, either go turn around, figure out something. But every time the dog has a little tension, you're stopping. So it's not hard. It just takes a lot of time, and you have to be on it.
It takes
all the
discipline
time.
for the human, not the
human,
dog.
the
Yeah.
human,
the hard
That's the
part.
thing, is that in order to be clear, you have to know for sure what you're trying to get your dog to do.
That's
Because
very
if you
true.
don't even know,
Yeah.
and you just want to go
Then your
in,
dog sure don't know,
like,
right?
Yeah.
well, it
Yeah.
sounds so silly, but someone you would think you want your dog to sit, for example, but then there's a lot of other external factors,
Yeah.
and you're not thinking about why the
He's
dog is
struggling
not
right
doing
now.
it right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by you have to really be clear with yourself, with the
Yes.
dog, what it is that you're trying to achieve. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing.
They have to master sit before they can sit at a dog park,
Right.
right?
They have to
Right.
master with no distractions.
You don't want to ever
And if-
teach a dog anything in a distracting environment.
Yeah.
You teach them in
Yeah.
utter
Mhm.
blandness
Yeah.
until you know they know it. Now you start adding layers of distractions and
Yes.
complexity.
I would think that discipline on the human side is in my
it is
opinion,
the hardest.
is the
is.
hardest part about being a dog owner. It's like parenting. You cannot be a good parent when you want to be. You have to be a good parent
All
all the time.
Yep. Even when you just don't feel like it.
You had a horrible day. You just want to go home and sleep. Now you got to go walk your dog, and you got to walk them
Nope.
correctly.
Yep.
And you got to play with them,
yeah.
and you gotta interact
Right.
with them
Yeah.
in a
Just like you
positive
got to
way.
feed the kids dinner. You just, whether you feel like making dinner or
Put them
not.
into bed and
Yeah.
take them to
Literal
school.
hardest part
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Treat your dog like a 5-year-old toddler, and life
Yep.
will be a lot less complicated. And then, and a lot of times people will, when they're teaching something new, struggle that the dog starts getting distracted. So that comes up to our next core value, which is something I say a lot, is speed forces focus. What I really mean by that is if you want your dog to be interested in you, then you need to be interesting to your dog. Most of the time our dogs are not interested in us because we are just flat not that interesting. That's why we incorporate play so much into our training. We want to be super interesting. If my dogs or our dogs that we're training hear us say their name, bow, their head is turned like, yeah, what? Once they're paying attention, if they know the command, they can now obey it. If they don't know the command, now I can now teach it. But if I can't even get them to focus on me, good luck with any teaching going on. And speed. If your dog's maybe getting a little distracted, speed up. But also, speed doesn't necessarily always mean faster. It could mean slower.
Yes.
What I really mean by that is, don't be monotone pace.
Yeah.
Be random. Be random in going left, going right. Speed up. Walk normal. Slow down. A lot of people that struggle with walking their dog on a leash, the average dog walks at just a normal, average lollygagging pace, 4 miles per hour. We walk
Not that. That's
at
running.
2 miles
That's
per hour.
running for
That's
us.
a really well, it's not running, but it is a brisk
It's like a
pace. You couldn't keep
jog.
it up for a long
The
time.
jog, 4 miles, yeah.
So we walk on that normal meandering pace, 2 miles an hour. So we walk or half as fast as our dog, and we wonder, why does our dog pull? Because literally, we are boring him out of his mind.
Yeah.
You walk 1 mile an hour and see how fun that would be. You just cut your speed in half. So speed forces focus, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're always going fast.
Yeah.
You could go slow. And then pursuing through that, basically all of our core values, we're trying to pursue growth on all levels. So that goes for the dog and the human, would you say, Julie?
Yes. So for pursue growth on all levels, the first thing that comes to mind is how to explain it. Like whenever you try to teach a dog to do a certain obedience command and then you reach it and then you don't go beyond that.
Yeah.
So I would even say with some of the things that goes on in this building, there are moments where a trainer will start to hyper focus on a certain field, and it's
Right.
like, hey, okay, you gotta move on now.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta remind them, okay, you
Yep.
need to go on to the outside or to whatever.
Or to a
And-
different field even.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
And that's really what pursue growth on all levels mean to me. It's pretty much generalizing your obedience beyond whatever comfortable setting your dog is on.
Right.
Getting them to be able to do it with a ton of other distractions, dogs, people, smells, different areas. That would be like my main way of explaining that.
Because I get that all the time. We're like, hey, we're going to go over, these are our core commands: come, sit, stay, leash, walking, heeling, door manners, place, the basics. And everyone's like, oh, my dog already does that. Where? Well, at my house,
Right.
around my neighborhood. I'm like, well, can your dog do it with another dog right next to yours? No, I mean, this is why we're here.
Right. Can you do it on Katy Trail?
Yeah, can we do it at a dog
It's
park?
not even that. Can you do it where you wish you... Are there places you don't take your dog because your dog can't do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the real question we need to know, because that's where we need the dog to be able to do it. Otherwise, the dog's never going to be able to go those places.
And most of the time it's useless. Like my dog only does well on a cot. Well, there's not cots all over the planet.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
stuck at your
and
house.
I think also another thing to add is, because I can imagine people thinking, okay, why would I care if my dog can sit stay like in the middle of a mall or whatever?
Yeah.
Right.
But to me, it's not even about their ability to do this command. It's that I want them to be able to focus on me,
Yep.
and to be able to
Manage your
do all this
impulse.
stuff and still care about me and pay attention to me and essentially obey and not care about
Right.
the external factors.
Yeah.
So
That's why sit stay is so important
Mm-hmm.
in those commands. Is we're teaching the dog the skill of how to control their impulses
Yep.
or manage their
Them
impulses.
Yeah.
Dogs don't naturally manage their impulses. Why would they? They'd starve to death in the wild if they
Right.
managed their impulses.
Yeah, it's just
Their
very-
impulse is to chase a squirrel and eat.
yeah,
If they were like, well, maybe it's not prudent at this time of the day that I do that, they would all die. They would starve.
Yeah.
So they act on every impulse that pops into their
Yeah.
brain. We literally have to kind of override that DNA and start teaching them a skill that they can learn, but it's a difficult skill for them to learn.
Well, you also never know when that skill is going to be like a real life
Saving.
scenario.
Yeah.
I did it with my husky pet Pickles the other day. Park in the driveway, get out of the car. I don't even put on a leash. He's off leash trained, and I'm like, we're just literally walking into the front door.
Right.
Got out of the car, got about halfway to the front door, and I noticed a stray cat in the middle of my front lawn. And about the same time I see it, the dog
He
sees
saw
it.
Yeah.
He went about 4 steps before I did the parent leave it, come, and he stopped, and he came back to me. Of course, the cat took off.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that was
But he didn't chase it.
He did not chase it, and it was thank God.
And
oh,
he could
man.
have ran right across the street
Right.
chasing that dog
Yeah.
or that cat. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
got attacked by the rabid cat. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No. The rabbit kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have all kinds. I don't know.
Years ago, that happened to us. George was across the street getting pet by the neighbor or something. It was early in the morning. It was a Sunday or something, and we live on a very quiet street then. And I called him to come back, and he started to come back, and there were some shrubs in the front of the lawn, so he couldn't really see the street, and there was a car coming, and yelled, "Wait!" and bam, he did it. I was like, "Oh God, thank God," because he would have just darted right in front of
Right
the
in
car.
front of the train.
The car could
Yeah.
not have seen him because
Mm-hmm.
the view was
Yeah.
obstructed by that shrub. He clearly could not have seen the car.
Yeah.
But his impulse, once I said the recall, was to come back. So impulse control can save your dog's
Yeah.
life. It is that important.
And that's what we talk about growth in all levels. You should, even after training, you should push yourself and your dog to go further.
Yeah.
Because dogs can learn amazing things. You just put the time and work into it. And if your trainer helps you figure out how to go beyond whatever they train them, that is amazing. Because most
you want to work their brains.
You want to work their brains, yes.
Especially like a Malinois, like the one over there. If she mastered all the basics and that's all you wanted, you just want a house dog, she's going to use those basics and get bored and start destroying things.
Right.
Yeah.
I look at our training as a foundation. We've established a good, firm foundation. Now you can build a lot of things on top of it. Years from now, if we run into each other, I'll look at your dog, I hope, and go, holy cow, that's Critter.
Yeah.
Who would have thought he was doing that now?
Yeah.
But you had such a good foundation. You could just keep building great things on top of that and have fun doing it.
Well, and some dogs need it.
Yeah.
Like a Malinois over there.
More energetic, the more they want to keep
needs
learning.
mental exercise in his life to be a normal dog.
Yeah.
And then through that, our goal for our last core value is set people up for success. How do you interpret that or view that? More?
So we do lessons every Friday with our clients, and what I like to make sure we're clear to the owners of where their dog is, because we do not have robot dogs here. So your dog's still the dog. We have to explain when they go home, they're going to do X, Y, and Z because the dogs used to do it at home. So we just try to set up expectations is the dog's been here 3 weeks, but you still need to work with your dog.
Yes.
Because 3 weeks is a very small amount of time. We always go through repetition. Repetitions build confidence. Confidence builds confidence. Also, Charles mentioned dogs should not be afraid to make mistakes. We make the owners understand that. Your dog's going to make a lot of mistakes because he just learned something brand new. And it's a lot of mistakes.
And we don't want the owner to be afraid to make a mistake either. Sometimes they don't want to participate as much as we wish they would in the lesson. I think it's because they're afraid to be embarrassed.
Maybe mistakes,
that's why we do lessons. Of course, you're not a dog trainer. You'll make a few mistakes. That's why we do lessons to help guide you to
one of the biggest things that owners want to do, and is get rid of that leash too soon in the house. We encourage people to keep a drag leash on your dog for at least a month. You need something. So if you ask a dog to do something, you need to have a way to get the dog to do whatever that is, behavior, come, sit, whatever it is. You need to have some way to do it and not turn into a chase game or a keep away game.
You know when your dog doesn't need to drag a leash around the house anymore.
Yeah.
The consistency is just spot on.
It could also be why I tell a lot of people is like if you've got a dog, react to dog that is actively guarding you or your house or something like that. We're not going to start the training at your house. That's literally the hardest place to do that. We're going to start here at our facility. Then we're going to do group class. And then we're going to start really working at home.
And because now we walk in, his trainer walks in, it's training time. Your dog immediately knows we're training. Mm-hmm. Where with the very first lesson we're doing at your house, I might be there for an hour and we might do 8 minutes of solid training with your dog. Because the rest of the time I'm trying to get your dog to either quit being so excited to meet my new stranger self or please don't bite me. One or the other, that energy is costing you half of the lesson.
Because the dog has no trust in you at all because it doesn't even know you. Another thing that Wyatt just said is how we set people up for success is group class. We encourage everyone to do group class because that is the biggest. After they
finish their training.
That's a place you can fail and no one cares. Yeah. Well, they're actually there to help you.
I like to say it's the safest place you'll ever have to make a mistake.
And why our group class is like that is we make everyone do training before.
We don't start our group class yet.
So no one thinks they've got the golden goose. They all had a problem. They're all working on it. No one cares that dog tried to eat.
And that goes back into set people up for success. But we look at that as your dog too. We've set your dog and you up to be successful in group by teaching the dog how to do it before you get there. Because if you don't know how to do group class, your dog doesn't know how to do group class, it's not all that fun. But at least if your dog knows how to do it, because they will know how to do it, basically everything we're doing in group. Now we're just teaching you how to be a good leader for your dog in that group environment. Things go so fast. That's another example of that, setting them up for success. And then cheat. If it's simple, do it. Cheat.
Cheat? Okay.
Cheat if you have to. And I just mean keep it simple. If there's some simple, easy way to do something, why complicate it? Do it easy. If it's clear communication, if you're teaching something new, use a treat to lure.
Yep.
But then fade the treats out so you don't have a treat-dependent dog, of course.
Or don't have 5 hand signs for sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah.
And ideally, keep everybody's commands and signals in the home the same.
Same.
Now, parents could use different commands, but why complicate things?
Yeah, there's no point.
Right. Any other comments on our core values that you can think of that we might have missed?
I just love that it all meshes together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they all apply to people and the dogs.
And to dogs. And actually even our staff.
Yes.
We actually looked at it. You could apply these core values to our staff, to how we interact with each other, to our clients, and to the dogs. So a lot of thought went into them. Well, hopefully you gleaned something from our discussion today. If so, I'd love to invite you to reach out to us. You could do so on the phone or through our website, k-9culture.com. If you have a training question or a challenge, click on the contact us and just enter that, and we'll do our best to answer your question on an upcoming podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. And then next week, our episode is going to be on training differences. The difference, should you have a slumber party or take them home? Biggest difference between day and train and board and train. A lot of people have never thought of doing one or the other, or they're opposed to one or the other. So we'll kind of dissect the advantages, the pros and cons of a day and train versus a board and train. And if time permits, maybe private lessons, but that might be another podcast. So next week, if you are considering training your dog somewhere in the United States, then that podcast should help you help determine what's the best fit for you and the best fit for your goals for your upcoming training. And if you're in the Dallas area or even the Texas area or close enough to drive within a day or two, we'd love to help you have a dog that's a joy to live with. Reach out to us and we'd see what your challenges are, what your goals are, and we'd love to help you train your dog to be a joy to live with. So until then, from all the team here at K-9 Culture, thank you for spending part of your day with us today. And until next week, go have fun with your dog.